we're going to talk about this Zakai Zeigler situation with a legal perspective from Tennessee's trial attorney. It is T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, the show represented by Banks and Jones. Hello, how are you, sir?
Hey, spectacular, my friends. How are y'all?
Never better. Always dapper. Let me ask you, just on surface level, before we dig into some specifics, what's your take on Zakai Zeigler? I know that you're a big basketball guy as well, big Tennessee guy. What's your take on Zakai Zeigler trying to get an extra year of eligibility?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I love Zakai. I mean, you talk about the heart of a lion, of all for life. I can understand, appreciate that. And as a rabid UT fan, and particularly a basketball fan, I hope he is successful. So, with that qualifier, obviously we're going to talk a little bit about what my legal opinion is concerning the same. And, it's kind of one of those statements along the lines of what I learned as a child about Christmas. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd have a wonderful holiday. So I don't know. There's a lot of ifs and buts in this particular situation.
Yeah, so T. Scott Jones, what I'm reading is Zakai Zeigler is trying to say it's hypocritical for the NCAA to not let him stay 5 years when they let players who redshirt stay 5 years. But I don't see where that's hypocritical at all. What would his argument be?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the quintessential "it's not fair" argument. I think the reality of it is albeit all the love in the world for Zakai and his legal team, reality of it is he's likely not NBA material. So his opportunity to earn money is limited to effectively his NIL deals and things of that nature. But, redshirt was there originally, albeit, we've kind of purloined it into when you come in as a freshman, we redshirt you. It was there, dealing with injuries, folks that like the first game of the season got injured or something of that nature. But, when you play 30 plus games in a season for 4 years, where's it going to end? I mean, I think, albeit I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the NCAA, I think in this particular situation, I think they probably have the better claim. I mean, that doesn't mean I don't like Zakai. It doesn't mean that I don't want him back. It's just the reality of the situation.
I'm going to go down goofy lane to make an extreme point. If Zakai Zeigler was to win this case and somebody else won a case where they get a 6th year, what would prevent somebody from continuing to win those cases, get a 7th, 8th year? What would prevent an NFL guy that doesn't make a team from coming back to college, and it's essentially just the minor leagues? I don't want to go in that direction, but with all that's happened in the past couple of years, I can't say it's completely off the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing that. We talked earlier, about all these NIL deals and things of that nature, and kind of where we're going to see the ceiling, so to speak, on it. I think at some point in time there has to be a finite line. And traditionally, college ball has always been viewed as 4 years, with that ability to have that 5th year in a redshirt type situation. We had the unique experience of COVID coming in there, but Zakai doesn't necessarily benefit from the COVID years because of the fact that he played 30 plus games for 4 years. So I think that's going to be tough sledding for him. I mean, at some point in time, we're going to have to say, okay, it's going to be that. Otherwise, I mean, how far are we going to take it back? Are we now going to have 7th year high school players? I mean, at some point in time, I mean, where's the line drawn?
T. Scott Jones, what if I've made this argument, and I want to know your thoughts on this, where I think Zakai Zeigler could have had a better case, and it would allow the NCAA to still have a finite line, but make an exception. And that's this. Zakai Zeigler reclassified into the 2021 recruiting class. He was initially a 2022 recruit. So he enrolled in college a year early because he finished all his high school coursework a year early. What if he made that argument and the compromise with the NCAA was, if you do all that extra work to finish high school a year early, then yes, you can get an extra year to play college ball, just as a reward, I guess, for that matter.
I think that's probably a more intelligent argument than what's been propagated thus far. I mean, thankfully, his counsel can amend their complaint, and everything subject to petitioning the court at this point in time, is kind of on the table. So hopefully they will explore that possibility to do that. And I think rewarding young men and young women that complete high school early and declare, if you will, early to come to college, perhaps that is a solution. But then, at some point in time, are you going to have that extra year and then say, okay, we're going to redshirt and we're going to have 6 years? So I think we're going to have to get some guidance where we've got true lines in the sand, so to speak, so we know where somebody is. I mean, is it 4 or 5 or is it 6? I mean, it is a interesting question. And Caleb, that I think presents a more logical argument than the I was deprived of NIL. I mean, what about all those men and women that were deprived of NIL back in the day? I mean, are we going to dust some of them off and, throw the walkers away and suit them back up? I mean, what are we going to do from that perspective?
Yeah, I wonder. I'm not big on government involvement in general, but at what point do they need to get involved and maybe lay down some laws like you have all the antitrust laws with Major League Baseball and the NFL? Those were made a long time ago, but does the government need to get involved in bringing some common sense to this?
I don't know necessarily from a legislative perspective, although we've seen a pretty active role taken by our Tennessee state legislature in it. I mean, I think we are sort of leading the charge in dealing with all of this NIL, NCAA, SEC, if you will, the interplay between all of them. But I think when folks bring their case to the judiciary for, if you will, a decision, in this case, we're going to get some pretty profound decisions, which, may very well negatively affect a number of other athletes, which might otherwise be benefited. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting how all this plays out. I'd say that you're going to see some pretty heavy motion practice with attempts by the NCAA to dismiss on a just preemptive ground in that, it may never actually make it to trial. I don't know that this is the mountain that either side wishes to die upon. But that being said, I think it is likely one that it's going to be sort of hamburger hill for both of them. I mean, there's going to be a bloodletting over this issue, and one way or the other, it's not going to be a pleasant result.
If they were just employees, would that affect your fandom?
I don't think so, but I think we would. Being said, are they going to have minimum wages and things of that nature, like NFL minimums and MLB minimums?
I would guess so. Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, I don't know if they're treated completely as employees. I don't know how much they're going to class now with the money in their pocket, which is unfortunate. Again, if you can, the show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. What all services do you offer, and why are you the best option? I say it every day, several times a day, but if you want to share personally.
Well, I tell you what, thanks, Dave, Caleb. I mean, reality of it is we are East Tennessee's trial attorneys. We handle more cases generally throughout East Tennessee than any other law firm. In fact, combining a number of law firms, they don't make the number of appearances. We make about 41 court appearances a week. We are there day in, day out, kind of like Top Gun. When you're not in court, you lose your dogfighting skills. So we do what's necessary to win. We get good results for our clients. And we always remember that it is our privilege to represent our clients. And so we value them and we try to make ourselves accessible. I've got 19 lawyers that are working with me now, a total staff now of 39. So we do what's necessary to get the result that the individual wants within the limits of what's possible in the courts of law.
Great stuff. T. Scott, we greatly appreciate you and what you do for the community and for us as well. Have a blessed day, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Play to win. Bye-bye.
Thank you.